alongside Chris this evening. Chris, how you doing this evening?
You chewing on it, bro.
That's good. So we have a couple things to get through. We're gonna watch episode 33 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. We also have the anime charts to go through. A couple news things that came out for some anime that are probably kind of iconic and things that are interesting to me, I think, and both of us probably. And we actually want to talk about one anime on the charts because there was actually an interesting chart that Anime Corner put out that has a very interesting rise of this anime. So we'll get to that as well. Let's start off with the anime charts. So these charts pretty much not too terrible, not too bad. Stray Dogs number 1, it stays at 1. Mushin Tensei season 2 went up 3 spots. Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 stayed at 3. Bleach went to 4, dropped 2 spots. Zom 100 came back into the charts, went at 5. My Happy Marriage stayed at 6. Dark Gathering dropped 3 spots. The Girl That Forgot Her Glasses dropped 1 spot. Revenge R dropped a spot. And Undead Girl Murder Farce went up a spot from 11 to 10 to get back in the top 10. So, Chris, I'm going to ask you this. What do you think about these charts as you see them right here?
Man, they are showing out at this point, man, because we're right at the end of this fall anime. Well, yeah, right at the end of the summer anime, getting ready to go into the fall,
Uh-huh.
and so a lot of the animes are at their peak seasons, trying to get to the point and everything. So I'm excited to see how it's gonna come back.
Yeah, the one I was thinking about when I looked at this chart, the one thing I thought about is you brought up Mujutsu Tensei and how it kind of fluctuates depending on what the episode's about. I'm actually not surprised it got back into the top 3. Um, I'm actually I'm kind of surprised Jujutsu Kaisen stayed at 3. I thought it might have been moved up to 2, and then Bleach dropping 2 spots doesn't make sense because of everything else coming out. I'm actually and the other one too. I think seeing Undead Murder Farce get back in the top 10 is good. And then Zom 100 coming back from week hiatus, came back last week, and now it's just back at 5. Do you think the reason Mugen Tensei probably got back up there is because the episode was a lot more interesting or a lot different?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I feel like that anime kind of peaked in those interesting scenes. Like we're always kind of ready to see what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, so let's go into the first news thing that I found is that we are getting on Netflix or only on Netflix Onimusha November 2nd as an anime adaptation.
What's it called?
Onimusha Onimusha. So it's based on a video game, but it's also a very cool like samurai style.
I lost you, Brandon.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go. Can you hear me now, Chris?
There we go. Now I see you,
Sorry about that.
but
So
I
this
lost the audio. Can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Can't hear you now. I see you. I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. Test. Hold on one second. I do apologize for technical difficulties. Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay. So what I was saying about Animusha is that this is kind of your samurai anime. What do you think about them doing more anime like this? So we got this announcement. We also got the prior announcement a couple weeks ago of what was it? Because we talked about it. Castlevania. Do you think we're gonna get a lot more of those type of like old school video game based or older school type media that's going to become anime now?
Yeah, and as I think artists and media and entertainment companies struggle to find ways to get to bring in the crowd and entertain the youth, they're gonna find another way that's gonna reach out, and I think that's gonna be one of the ways they do it.
Okay. Um, yeah, so that's coming out November 2nd. So that stacks up a pretty good list of anime for the month of this. Yeah, starting in October. So in October we have five. October 1st we have 5 different anime coming out. October 2nd we have 3. And October 3rd we have like 7. 3, 6. So basically, we're gonna have look like about 50 anime going into October 21st. So there's a lot coming out. We talked about it last week, but I kind of found this on Anime Corner. Basically, your big hitters. One of the shows I'm looking for, Overtake, is coming out October 1st. We have a lot of Tokyo Revenge comes out October 3rd, which you and Dion both talked about. We have The Rise of Shield Hero October 6th. And then we got Spy Family Season 2, Goblin Slayer Season 2, October 7th. And then the bigger ones, The Subway Deadly Sin Season 4. I think I know that show's pretty big. October 8th. Dead Mountain Death Play October 10th. And then Dr. Stone October 12th. And then the other big thing they have on here is Attack on Titan starts November 4th. There's a lot in there, and I didn't go through everything, but there's at least about 50 some anime. And now you can just add Onimusha to that list. This is going to be the year of just. This is going to be the fall year of just a lot of anime coming out. Like this will probably be the biggest years for fall anime. Let's get into this other news thing that came out. So this is also from my corner. The people who make My Happy Marriage season 2 has officially been announced. What do you think about that? Because this is a pretty quick announcement, knowing it's still going on. There's still a couple episodes left. Is that surprising, or is that just something we kind of figured was going to happen?
For me, it's surprising. I mean, I know the anime received some good reviews and everything, but I mean, apparently, it sounds like I need to go give it a watch. Apparently, it's taking off.
Yeah, it is taking off. I want to go give it a watch myself. That is one I'm going to probably end up watching and getting into. But I thought that was really interesting that they've already kind of confirmed that we're going to get season 2. Then the second to last news story we'll talk about. So last week's episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, season 2, episode 32, we see, or not last week's, this week's episode, not last week's, this week's episode that's going to be coming out. So Anime Corner News talked about that Gojo from JJK made a real life newspaper about this episode. I have to ask you. So let me explain. It was kind of interesting. So Gojo made a real life newspaper in Shibuya. And it was actually kind of interesting because it was the scene we're going to see in this episode. One of the scenes in this episode that is actually really iconic. Does that tell you when something's gotten that big that it can transcend to a newspaper covering it, even though it's something not like legit?
I mean, the newspaper is a stepping stone. However, I mean, compared to the mass media, it is the first step, I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think JDK is really big right now. It's big in Japan. And you're also talking about Shibuya, one of the biggest like areas in Japan. It's kind of surprising. You just get to see that now and see people really like are really getting into JDK now after this episode and these last couple episodes, and I think it's going to really push them even further. Just people to check out the episode and everything. Um, Alongside that, so the last thing I really want to get into because there was um, one more news item that came out, and I actually didn't send this one to you, but I'll talk about it. It has to deal with Stray Dogs, by the way. So Stray Dogs, um, season 5, Anime Corner also put out a thing saying, so Stray Dogs season 5 for the summer anime rankings. Week 1, they didn't get ranked. Week 2, did not get ranked. Week 3, number 9. Week 4, 1. Week 5, 1. Week 6, 4. Week 7, 4. Week 8, 6. Week 9, 6. Week 10, 6. The last 2 weeks, week 11 and 12, first. So I'm going to ask you this. Is that back and forth like that? And they've been the top one 4 times. Is that because certain episodes were good, but also these last 2 episodes have been really good, and the middle 2 episodes of the season were really good, so people were really going to check it out. But a lot of people keep it in their top 5. Is that kind of because it's a really good anime across the board, or is that just because fans are interested in it? Who's already
I
seen?
think that's just because the fans are interested. You know, they got the fans kind of like me that like pop their head in just to see if it's any good, and they're like, is it good? Maybe it is. You know, they're like, nah, it's alright.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you do get those that hop in and say, oh, this is kind of good, and they stick with it.
Yeah,
So it's just interesting the way that works itself out. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's actually a really interesting take because I think that's not something you would have thought would have happened. Like they showed it for that. They showed it for them, which I was actually kind of surprised by. But I kind of wish they would done it for the other ones too, and see what other people thought across the board for the other animes and how they fluctuated. The only one I really wouldn't have cared for is on 100 because on 100 missed the charts a couple times because of delays and stuff. But everybody else, I would have been like, okay, see how that fluctuated over time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so before we get into the anime, I have so my question tonight, and we kind of already talked about this, but I thought about it with this episode. We're about to watch if JDK as we're doing this question, get that episode up for me. Um, so my question is, we talk about um, we talk about always that animes don't have like some of their things, the movies aren't canon, or certain episodes aren't canon to the actual season, each arc. Do you think that more shows need to make more stuff canon or give a sliver of canon? Because when we talk about this episode, they're going to put something in here that is canon now that wasn't canon prior, but still has that still can ties everything together. And I think it's good and bad because a lot of people, it's good if you watch everything that deals with JDK. If you don't get the reference. It kind of feels off. So what do you think about that, Chris?
I mean, I agree. It does feel off. I mean, it's just one of those things like they tell you what kind of fan are you? Are you the one that was just gonna pay attention and stick up and pay attention to what's going on and keep up with it, or are you just a person that's just watching it for other reasons? You know.
Yeah. Um, but it's like I think the thing with that is I think the downside is because this, and we'll talk about when we get to the episode. But I think the big thing with that is I think for me it's a tentpole thing that we've seen, and they actually make a big deal of it because the character that it's based, the character reacts to it. So he reacts like he's already seen this before. And I think if you have a character react to something previous and something else, then that kind of throws your canon not being canon out the window. And I think that's a hard thing to balance because if you can't have that canon moment, it's really interesting. It's really not going to make it make sense. Good example: me and Chris both saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Every Spider-Man is present in the Spider-Verse universe except for one. I think if I remember correctly, it's from the PlayStation game, correct?
Correct.
Which is odd because Sony owns the game. So why is that Spider-Man not included in that? But also, I think Tom Holland's Spider-Man from the Marvel universe isn't included. It's not. There's no reference to him in the show in the movie at all. But every other Spider-Man's referenced.
Including Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think do you think more episodes should make? Do you think more shows should make their stuff canon across the board if it's going to be a longer running series and you're going to reference things, or is it just based on the show itself?
I think it's based on the show itself only because a lot of shows try to take a show or anime and do way too much with it. Like, and I mean, like you're putting so much exaggeration into characters, and it's really not that deep. And vice versa, there are some shows that need more justice because the characters are just they aren't giving the characters any justice. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so that's why I say it depends on the anime. Cause I mean, there are a lot of shows that are deserving for more episodes, but sadly won't get them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was an interesting question. I brought it up when I watched the episode the first time around of JJK, and I just think now it's more of a thing of like, what are the rules? Like, I know Disney for Star Wars, a lot of stuff is non-canon because a lot of the book stuff is non-canon. So it kind of has that weird balancing act of how do you balance that to make it make sense.
Exactly.
But let's get into season 2, episode 33 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. I will say three, two, one, and then we'll get going. Chris, you ready?
Let me load it up. So I'm
Okay.
right there. See, I had started the movie, so I got
It actually kept me on the actual season. Usually jumps me to the movie if there's something else. So,
I am ready, sir.
all right. In three, two, one, let's go. I love the fact they start out by asking, "What do you think of Gojo?" And it's like they've done it
Yeah,
in like a documentary kind of style thing.
you're right. And hey, Brandon, can you do anything to turn yourself up?
Yeah, I can. Here, hold on. Am I still quiet?
Yes.
Okay. Go to my. And they do the flashback thing. So we're gonna see how that happened. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I will say, watching this again, this whole episode focuses on Gojo,
Yep.
which is actually kind of interesting because that first question, you think, why would they ask that? But they're getting the sense of like, well, who is Gojo? We don't know much about the man. But
We know he's strong as all get out, but how did he get there?
correct, and that's why you see the student. They ask the students, what do you think about him?
I see you, Jimmy. This theme song does go hard though.
Yes, it does. When Dion said he put it in his playlist, I'm like, yeah, I can see people working out to that. Absolutely, like it does it. It makes sense.
Exactly.
Episode 33, the Shibuya incident gate opened.
Right. Playtime's over.
Yep, it's time to go to work.
Oh man.
Okay. By the way, that was kind of creepy. Goto was smiling too. Like, only smiling too much for that. He was smiling super hard after he saw after he tried to rip that dude's arm off.
See how they made his arm grow back instantly like that?
Yep. Yep. So it's like instant regeneration.
Instant. Madman look.
Your plan backfired. You wanted him to stop using Limitus.
Got you.
And this was gruesome. Literally just
Oh.
ripped her eyes out. And then not extra eyes.
Oh.
What do you mean by a death painter?
You got really, really hard to hear again.
Oh, sorry. What do you mean by a death painter?
What do you mean by this? What?
Death painter. Because he said the guy is not a spirit. He's a incant and like death painter.
That's probably how he's controlling those blood. But bro,
Oh,
this
okay.
part right here was so cool.
He doesn't care.
Bro, that's so messed up.
He didn't
So
do
he low
one.
key did a villain finish on a villain.
Yeah, he did. He basically went like literally God mode for a second.
It's like for real.
What are they playing? I've seen this game before.
It's the same game. I forget Pie Show, I think.
Okay, that's why I thought it was.
Yeah. After he thought about it for a minute.
Oh, that's why he was looking kind of puzzled. Okay.
Yeah, because he told him they playing, and then he's like, wait a minute. It kind of seems like you just putting us out there to.
Do your dirty work. By the way, you're a spirit. Why are you running away?
Yes, he's scared as all get out right now. See,
Oh,
he over
that.
here doing this exorcism stuff.
What the? He just literally got up on the platform and just like flipped over. That's funny. He's talking to the blood dude. But he thought he was talking to Ghetto.
Well, apparently he was ready for it.
Yeah. The only thing about this scene I don't get, why is everybody still standing here? I'll be running.
Because all they really see is a dude in white hair running around here acting like he the exorcist.
But yeah, you've seen people fellow humans get killed.
Yeah, now that you're right about.
Like I if I start seeing that, I'm running. Oh, we left them. I forgot we left them last episode to find this person. They didn't know what was going on here. Oh, I did not know. Okay, that makes more sense now. We get all the monsters later.
Yeah, because man, you missed it the last few episodes when they said they was looking for Patchface, and then Patchface said he got a job to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember Pat's Face. They talked about Pat's Face, but I was like, I didn't know what they were mentioning because I'm like, what are they talking about? But then now it makes sense
it took me a minute to realize that too.
because they built all these monsters to go after Gojo.
Well, not even to go after him, just to distract him.
Mm-hmm. I would not rerun into that train.
And they still think that's the way out.
But I love the reveal
And,
of this. He's looking in the
and
window and just sees these monstrosities, and he's frozen with fear.
can't even blame the dude.
Yeah, no, I can't blame him either.
And then they check out a chunk of his head.
Yeah, that's creepy. Literally, we're gonna bite her head.
I just realized he was saying his name backwards.
Yes, he did. By the way, what was his part in all this?
What was who?
The guy we come out of the check just came out of the train. What's his part in all this? Because why is he
He's the one who transferred all those humans into monsters.
in the monsters? Okay. Oh yeah, because he has he has that ability to do that. Okay.
Right.
It's just weird because it's not like we're getting all these things coming together now. It's like, oh no.
This part goes so fast.
Whoa. Yeah, nice try. You're not gonna really attack like that.
Yeah, but it's just to distract him though.
Yep. But they already had assumed that though.
But remember what they said, but remember how we saw it? He said it was only 99%.
Yeah. Crazy.
And he figured it out though. Yep.
Infinite void.
They really had Joker in there. You
Yes, he
saw
did.
that, right?
I saw that. He had the Joker costume. It's not. It can't legally be called the Joker, but it is the Joker costume.
It really
The-
was, bro.
they
They
did a
got
good
away with
job.
so much.
They well, because they can do like Where's Waldo, the Joker costume. It'd just be fun things they could just get away with.
Just because it's quote unquote Halloween.
Halloween.
And they did say, ooh, bro, the fact that he was on all fours like that.
He go on Sonic levels of speed. At the speed of sound, my friend.
Look at this jazz. This jazz. Ooh.
0.2 of a second. I love how they started this. They showed him out. They show us outside his body, going at the along with him. Then they cut to like his perspective. That is amazing.
And now
And
you see his head flying up. Ooh.
yeah, I'm surprised this episode didn't get a lot more flack for being so bloody.
They probably gave the studios fair warning.
They did. They probably did.
and everybody standing there kind of brain dead.
Yeah, nobody moved through that whole part. Like he's just going through there, just drawing them. 1,000 transfigured humans unleashed in
299.
299 seconds. God,
Got to
that's
bring out the
on
calculator on that. Just under 5 minutes.
yeah, 4 minutes. Wow, 4 minutes and 98 seconds.
Because 5 minutes would mean instant vegetable.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
a fake. And that's a shot from the newspaper they used
Yep.
when he gets caught by the prison the first
And
time.
they said that would only take them a minute.
This reveal was creepy. By the way, there's still people in this area and they're like not even caring what's going on.
No, because remember, after the effects of Gojo's thing kind of renders them
Oh,
into a vegetative state.
hmm.
But they said that after everybody went to the hospital, everybody made a full recovery. Oh, that's shit.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's why I'm like, now you make the movie canon because that's from directly from the movie.
Told you he was still alive. Called it. Yeah,
He did call.
called it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Kept telling you, dude, gonna come back in the nick of time.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, you watched. You're right. It's just like, do we see his actual body again? I say no, but yes, he's still alive.
Now, yeah, if you see his actual body, now that's a whole other story.
Yes. All right, so that was episode 33, season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So we have some time. We're gonna go through this play by play. So this episode starts off with. Before I do this, Chris, do you want to go through full play by play, go through the whole episode, then you can give your opinion, or do you want me to do parts?
Go through parts.
Parts. Okay. So we're gonna start out with this opening scene where there's a question coming on screen in English or in Japanese. What do you think about Satoru Gojo? And each person gives their answer. Basically, each story talks about him being his teacher and him teaching a lot. Um, uh, what's his name? Who has all the spirit animals? Says he's technical and very good, and then the girl pretty much goes, he's kind of weird, but he does everything well for the most part. Then we cut from that to we go back to we're at the train platform, and we left off where Gojo took off his blindfold and is about to go ham, and the volcano spirit tries to attack him multiple ways. Gojo's having none of it. Gojo's pretty much like, you're small fry, I'm gonna rip your arm off. As he's ripping the dude's arm off, by the way, he's smiling the first time. You can tell he's having fun when he's just like grinning. He's grinning ear from ear, not even caring.
In the most creepy way, might I add.
Yeah, it was a super creepy grin that I don't think you would think he would do, but he's just like, screw it. So he does that, beats him up a little bit. They try to all gang up on him, and they really can't do much. But then this where it gets kind of interesting. So I'll stop right there. Chris, what do you think about this first part?
Okay, so Gojo, from coming from the last scene when they think they gotten the upper hand, it's like, nah, y'all don't know, but I'm really finna come after y'all now. That was his vibe for that. So, and I mean, we especially when he gets to that point to where like he ready to, you know what I mean? Like, dude is mad at this point. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I believe that's where you come to an end.
Fighting. Yeah. Then we get some more fighting. Then we get the information dump of the middle of this episode. So they're playing they're playing like a little Japanese style like dominoes type game. And Ghetto pretty much is the plan. Here's what y'all need to do. Patchwork, you need to get all these humans to turn into disfigured monsters. Volcano dude, you need to hold off Gojo for 20 minutes alongside the plant girl and the blood dude. They don't really explain if the blood dude's a human or is he a spirit. Gojo don't think he's a spirit. He thinks he's more human based. He says that later on in the episode. I'll bring it up here because it is kind of interesting. And then the whole time they're having this conversation, playing this game, which is playing normally, you can see Volcano's face seething. He's just like, okay. No, he's not mad. He's just kind of like thinking, all right, you're telling us this plan. And then the old adage light bulb turns on his head, like, and then he just snaps. He gets right in front of Gojo. I could burn you alive right now. Literally goes from annoyed to mad. But the reason he's mad, is like, what the world are you gonna do? The whole time you're we're doing all this. I'll be there. He said, and Ghetto says, I'll be there. Don't worry about it. I have just follow the plan. Everything will work out. Which Volcano guy don't believe at all. So then we cut back to the fight, and he goes, we have the fight again. We start back up. They try everything to get to Gojo. They try throwing more humans down in the pit. Or into the station. They try going at him even harder. Gojo's having none of it. This is the first time you really see Gojo go, you know what? So he beats up Volcano some more. He literally takes the plant girl's eyes, which are like tree trunk, little trees, like branches, and literally just rips them out of her eye sockets. And you're just like, Gojo, have you gone nuts? And then the funny thing, Chris mentioned it. In that scene, you see him fight the plant girl. He literally does a villain level fatality on a villain. Gojo went full god mode and just basically left her with nothing left. She's just dust. So and then you see the volcano dude's like, okay, I need to find her a way to keep him controlled. I need to not let her death be in vain. So, Chris, what do you think about that little section? Because this is where Gojo kind of is like, I'm done playing. I'm just gonna destroy y'all now.
I mean, dude, at this point, Gojo was like, he was more than going ham, bro. Like, how can I put it? Like, he looked like he was just literally just cut loose.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, these dudes, they think they got the upper hand, and then he just start fooling around with them, like they not even hitting them, and he turning his shield on and off. Like,
I thought he did turn it on and off at points. I thought he had turned it on and off, but I couldn't tell because the way it was so quick. At points, I'm like, did he turn it on and off and then make him feel like they were actually getting attacked? He was getting attacked, or just kind of screw it with them.
but he was going ham though, dude. Like, I mean, and then we talk that villain level fatality, bro. Like, dude, the tree dude who we saw in season one, kind of going off and giving our characters a
Oh,
little bit of a
trouble.
workout.
Yeah.
And then you see Gojo just completely obliterate him like that. Like when you hear a show say like I'm going to obliterate you, that is what I think is going to happen. That is it.
Basically, he does a special code for a fatality in like Mortal Kombat and just goes, okay, I'll start by ripping your eyes out, which are your tree these little tree branches, and literally just making you bleed, and then just leaving your body like nothing's left. It it left you thinking, did did y'all just wake up did y'all wake up a beast or a demon or spirit stronger than y'all? Like y'all didn't know what hit y'all.
Exactly.
So the then we get this. So then the volcano dude says, "I'm not gonna let everything go in vain." Then we ultimately, so we cut to Ichidori, Crow Lady, and her assistant, and Ichidori says something. They're back at the platform where the one lady was. So they show this later. They're back at the platform because um, the platform was they were going down to check on something, but they didn't see nothing down there. They're trying to find Patchwork,
Right.
which was the dude that was making all these transfigured humans. So then they go down there. There's this one lady just sitting there, and she goes, yeah, and Ichiro asks, "Is everything okay? What happened?" And she's like, "All these people got turned into monsters. I don't I don't know what happened. This guy did it, and then she turned into a monster, and she gets kind of turns into a monster, and then just dies. Oddly enough, she doesn't actually stay a monster long. She passes away pretty quickly. But then Ichidori said, "Uh oh, Gojo's in trouble. They're hitting Shibuya." And it's funny. This is actually really interesting. The scene, the way they deal with this. So Ichidori knows they're heading to Shibuya Station. So you see all these people on the train track. You see people on the platform. The fight's still going on around them. They know the fight's still going on, so we're not going to really worry about that. But then, after you see this fight still going on, you hear this train come through. And you're like, oh, they're like, oh, train, good. We can leave. We can get out of here. So everybody's running to the train, wait until the train gets there, standing at the door. This one dude in like this red shirt, red hoodie, runs to the door and sits there for a second. By the way, we're still in the Halloween time of this show, so Chris pointed this out, and I saw it too. There was a guy dressed as the Joker, like from the previous, like the most current Batman movie, not the most current one, like the Joker movie, dressed as that Joker.
The one from Jacqueline Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Phoenix Joker. That's kind of funny, but also they can get away with that because nobody's gonna know that unless you are like a fan of that kind of stuff. You're not gonna know all these references, and it's Halloween, so you can probably get away. It's a Halloween episode, so you can get away with all that. We saw, like I said, Where's Waldo? I saw Wonder Woman. I saw a Superman version. Somebody doing that, so you can still see those kind of characters. So they're trying to have fun with that. So then the guy walks up to the door, stands on the platform, looks in the window, and his face says it all. His face is like, "Oh, those aren't. Wait, those are not people. Those are monsters." Door opens. Literally, the dude gets a chunk of his skull taken out from one of the monsters, and then all the spirits are like, all the spirits are like, "Well, Gojo's gonna have a problem because he can't save everybody. He can't save everybody now, and all these monsters are here. So what is Gojo gonna do? He would have to use domain expansion. Use domain expansion, infinite void to stop this." And I'm gonna stop right there. Chris, what do you think about this section?
So at this point, this is after another little back scene of a little high show game he was playing,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was explaining like, you only need a minute, but at the same time, y'all still gonna have to hold them off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the dude is fighting, and he's realizing they're fighting a losing battle,
Mm-hmm.
especially after he killed old tree dude. So so but then once those dudes had started dropping those extra people, and then Patch Face has arrived at the train with some more people. So it's literally mayhem, like
Yes.
absolute mayhem going on. And so all Gojo can do is stop and think for a minute, and then now that's when the narrator is like, listening to everything that's going on. This is
So,
being Gojo.
so was this a narrator, or was this one? I thought it was a narrator, but it sounded like one of the spirits talking. But this was just straight up narrator, just narrating what his inner thoughts were.
That's what I took from it.
Okay, that's what I thought too. But I was like, could have been a narrator, but the way it made it sound, it also could have been them just like the spirits and Ghetto talking prior about this, what he would have to do. Because the only reason I say it, then you see all the spirits go, "Oh no, he figured it out," and then Gojo does this. He goes, "Domain expansion, infinite void." And then he goes, Sonic the Hedgehog levels of, "I'm just going to run through this place and destroy every monster around here." Everybody else is, and that's what he literally did. So he's on all fours, just running around destroying these things. At one point, we see him on all fours. They have like a tracking shot with it's like you had a tracking camera like a football field or something, and you're just following the player run down the field. That's one shot they did. Then they do another shot. They do a shot from his perspective, or they do a shot above his perspective, running through it. And then they do a spot from his perspective through his eyes, doing this whole thing. This scene is probably less than like 2 minutes, like a minute, like 2 minutes. But it's so impactful because it proves that Gojo's like, "I'm gonna use all my power to destroy all these monsters to save these people. And yet I will do it in less time it'll take less time for me to do that than fight all y'all." So then at the end, so this is a flashback we see earlier. He's breathing heavy. The flashback we saw earlier in the night where he's breathing heavy, kind of like out of breath. We get this here. So we finish, and the narrator comes back and says he was going 2 times faster than the speed of something. He's going so fast. He has to be so focused. He's on this rant. Like, he's tunnel vision, just doing this thing. Narrator goes nuts. Narrator said he did it in less than, he did it in 2 minutes, 2 seconds, 299 seconds, which we did the math was little less than 5 minutes. Man Dad did that in 5 minutes, and he didn't break a sweat. So then they're like, seriously? The spirits are like, seriously, he just did that in 5 minutes? And they're gonna keep trying to attack him. They keep trying to attack him. They finally attack him. They get enough to attack him. Blood Dude tries everything. Blood Dude does a couple blood things. Mrs. Gojo hits a couple humans. That what's his name that can manipulate human people to turn monsters. He tries some things, doesn't work, but what he destroys all these people. And then finally, Ghetto shows himself, but doesn't show himself normally. He shows himself with a little tiny box. This tiny box was the prison they were talking about, the prison realm, which you can lock somebody into. So finally, their plan worked. They got Gojo tired. He was thinking. He wasn't. He was off. He was on his game for a bit, but he's off now because he sees this little box. What do I do? So the box opens up. It's this eyeball in the middle with 4 little corners like a square. And it just stands there. He just stands there like, I need to back up. So he slowly backs up. He's gonna leave. Gojo's about to leave, but Ghetto appears and Ghetto goes, Seguri? And Gojo goes, wait, that voice, that's Ghetto. So he stops and he looks, and Ghetto, he's like, how's Ghetto alive? So then they do the thing, which I'll talk about later after I finish explaining the episode. They cut back to season 1 and show you all these flashbacks that Gojo's having. Then Gojo asks, who are you? You're not Ghetto. You're not the Ghetto I know. And then the Ghetto goes, wait, I am though. I'm your best friend. I feel kind of hurt that you don't know I'm your best friend. This was genuinely like kind of awkward because funny, this is the first time that they really talked about the little scar on his head. We haven't heard any reason why that scar is there. So we get to the point. And then Gojo goes, wait, who are you? You aren't Ghetto. But then the guy who's in the Ghetto's body unzips his head, and you see a brain with some teeth. And it's Ghetto's body, but not his soul. And this brain thing is taken over his body to use it as a vessel to get to Gojo. And this brain talks about, you know what? So when I met the kid from the Jujutsu 0, we had the battle. I was done. I couldn't fight anymore. I had nothing left. And yet, he showed me how to use this power. Because that's the other thing about this. That dude from Jujutsu 0 could use multiple techniques. He could use multiple techniques. He was one of the strongest sorcerers outside of Gojo himself in Jujutsu High. The funny part is, one of the techniques he learned was the body thing, but also he's learned how to use what's his name's technique of amplifying his voice, all that kind of stuff. So they explain it. I give him that. They do explain it. But he also said, I learned it from that, and then he's now gone. He's not even here anymore to help you. That was the cold thing about it. Then he goes even one step further. He goes, I wanted my revenge. I felt like you rejected my soul. Then Ghetto's stunned, just there, getting held by the prison thing. And then Gojo didn't say anything else. Ghetto doesn't say anything else. We're just kind of stuck there with him and holding him by the prison. He's not in the prison fully. And then we cut back to Ichidori. And Chris called this scene because I thought Mechamaru was dead. We see a Mechamaru earpiece come up onto Ichidori's ear, and says, Gojo's in trouble. No time to explain. We gotta go. And then they're heading towards Gojo's location, and that's where the episode ends. Chris, what do you think about the back half of this episode? Because it was a lot to get. It was a lot, and they did tie it all well together. I
Um,
I think it was really well done, but I do have one gripe. But before I get to that gripe, go ahead.
so man, the back half of this episode was like, first man, it's like, who the heck is this new villain in my bro's body? Like I feel Gojo's anger.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Gojo's
it's one
mad.
thing that you got to be trapped in this thing, but it's another thing that said that you a whole nother curse in my homebro's body. Like I may have killed the dude, but at least I have respect for him. So I
Yeah,
mean, it's I feel now the other part of this, which is just as messed up, is the fact that that Gojo was captured. So so we don't really know what's going on there. So I
you're right
mean,
about that. I will say this: the reveal of who's under Gojo's body is cool. The reveal of Gojo being pissed makes sense. Gojo be mad because he did destroy that body. The only thing that doesn't really work for me, the flashback to season 1 where he knows that Gojo was his best friend, but that's not the Gojo he thought. Cool, I get that. The second reveal is when he thinks about when Geto says, I learned this from a former person you taught from Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, the young kid we see in that movie who is the main character. And yet it ties everything together, and they show you clips of the fight, they show you clips of Geto being hurt, they show you all this stuff. But the thing they don't show you, and they don't really show you because it's at the end of the movie, I'm going to say spoilers, we haven't seen the movie, is when Gojo walks up to him and Geto's walking and kind of hurt, and he's sitting next to a wall. And he sits next to that wall, and you see Gojo walk up, and they're having a conversation, but you can't hear the conversation. It's inaudible, so it's not actually it's them speaking, but there's nothing coming out, no subtitles, no nothing. Well, we assume in that scene that's how Geto dies, because Gojo finishes them off. The thing is, you don't show that, so it doesn't put two and two together very well. I think it gives you the sense, cool, you gave us reason how you learned that power, because that other sorcerer could learn multiple techniques. They prove that in the movie. But then Gojo's face is showing that's not Geto. Well, show us the scene where he saw he killed Geto. Not killed him, but show us the scene where he's standing over his body about to do the thing. Because you made it canon. You made that canon now. The movie is technically canon to this series. But I think I think you left out part of the canon. And I can probably get why you did. But give us an explanation for why would Gojo be pissed? Why would Gojo know that's not the real Geto? Am I wrong, Chris? Do I feel like
I mean, no, you're not wrong because they do need some context. Like, other than saying, okay, you saying that those eyes, which we have come to know, are incredibly special to you, but yet your soul is saying, it's like, okay, so basically you're just saying that you got a good feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, just say that. But now that y'all are making it much more than, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all confusing now.
yeah,
Y'all have set
yeah,
a tone to that doesn't make any sense.
it is very confusing. And I don't get the fact if you're gonna talk about the previous character, because the thing that really kind of sentimented it, you're talking about the previous character from the movie, the previous main character. That's fine because you're proving the fact that he learned that something from that encounter. But then you just leave out the part that's the most important. Why would Gojo know that's not the real Ghetto? What gives you that? What gives that away? The body language, the eyes, what? And that's just like you say. Gojo could say, "Hey, these eyes or the way you're talking sounds like you, but your demeanor doesn't seem like you. So something's up." But he
Exactly.
doesn't. He doesn't say that. You don't hear anybody mention. So that's the only thing that kind of a nitpick for me. That's the only nitpick here because you now made the movie canon, partially, not fully, partially, and now it's going to make a lot of people go back to the movie and go, "Wait, so what are they talking about here?" And then that scene's going to come up. I wonder then, with the next couple episodes, are they going to explain? Are the other characters going to find out? Oh, that's not the real Ghetto. He's a somebody else's. It's his body, but somebody else is in the body controlling it.
Well,
Do you
I want to
think?
go back and see Ghetto in the first season now.
Yes, because he has the same scar. He has the same scar in the first season. After
Exactly.
after school, after he leaves the school. So when did that whole plot point happen?
Mm-hmm.
Which we
Good
haven't
point.
seen, unless you're saying the prequel series to this season, the hidden inventory and um, premature as well. Are you saying that's the first time we see it happen where he turns to? Is that saying the movie that makes the movie canon because that's the first time we see Ghetto? One, his older self. Two, that's not his normal body at that point because he has a scar at the end of premature in the inventory.
Right.
I don't know. The whole episode's good. The whole episode was fun. Fun. It really works to make the story make sense. But I think that's the only thing I think that just really doesn't work very well when there's a lot of
Is it?
questions.
It's just the fact that they needed more explanation on that part.
Yes, you need to explain it. If you didn't explain it, a lot of people will be confused if you don't watch the movie or haven't seen all of the hidden inventory yet. So if you've seen all of inventory, he has a scar at the end of inventory. But how do you get the scar? If you haven't seen the movie and they reference the movie here, the movie tells you he got that scar at the end of the movie, and we see it at the end of inventory. So like basically, their prequel of learning about how they became, the young versions of them, up and they jump a couple years. The movie is the middle part of that, and the movie is the middle part of that to connect the two together. I think.
I mean, it's funny, bro, because they did the movie as a prequel, and then turned around and did the first few episodes of another series, and it's a prequel.
It's a prequel. It's 5 episodes It's a 5 episode prequel, 6 episode prequel, um, to prequel this. So, mm, mm, yeah, there's some issues there. Um, so, Chris, I'm gonna ask you this: We're let me look again. I think 4 episodes in of this series of this new arc.
Uh,
I think it's 4. I have to look.
yeah, like 3 or 4. Yeah.
Okay, so let me double check. Yes, so it is 4. Start at 30, go to 33. So, with that being said, we're 4 episodes in. We're in the first third of this series because we're going to get 17 episodes. We break them in fours. With these first 4 episodes, what would you give a grade for the first 4 episodes? And then what would you give a grade for this episode?
So for the first 3 episodes, as a collective, I give them a smooth 9.2
Ooh, explain.
because they had a lot of good build up coming to the point just to get Gojo captured, and they recognized him as an OP character, and they treated him as such. Like,
Yes.
we're not trying to kill you, we just want to slow you down, which is probably the most anybody could probably do to Gojo is just slow him down.
Slow him down.
So the build up was nice. The story, I do agree with you. They need more context. Now, as far as this episode goes, I do want to give it a decent score, but I agree with you. That little thing kind of like tips off. But I'm not gonna let that little thing make it just a horrible score. So therefore, I am willing to give this episode a 9.0.
Okay. So that's a full point. Is that just the way they explain that, or is that other things as well?
It's the way that they explained it, but it's also the way that they left it open for any kind of context.
Okay. Okay. So in my estimation, with these first four episodes, so 30 to 33, I I would agree. I would say I would give this episode 9.5, 9.6, somewhere in there for all the episodes in that same reason. The build up is good. The build up from where we go from episode 30 to 33 is amazing. They do Gojo very well in the sense that Gojo's like over one of the most OP characters, like you said. You're not going to stop Gojo. You're going to slow him down. So we're just going to put him in the prison realm for a bit to slow him down. And his friends are going to figure out how to get him out of the prison realm so he can come back. And then you build up Ichidori very well too. Ichidori pretty much gets the build in episode 2 or episode 32, and that build is like he's kind of stronger. He's figured out things more. He's more of that, he's more becoming that sorcerer that I think he wanted to be in season 1 with Mei's team and everything. Um, Now for the episode. Okay. Now for episode 33. This is tough. Because what I said about the context and everything. You did enough to give people context. You did enough to understand that if people do want to go watch the movie, they can. So there is a reason for it. You didn't blow the spoiler at the end. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna end up giving this episode a 9.5.
Okay.
I agree with you. It is kind of hard to get the context here is not great. They don't do a good job of explaining, hey, this is where this is from. This is what happened to Ghetto, and this is where it happened at. I would have knocked a full point, but the only reason I ain't knocking off a full point is because of this. One, you gave Gojo probably one of the best through lines for an episode ever. In the sense he's OP for the first half of this episode. He's going ham. Then he has to think for a second, what do I need to do here? He makes a domain expansion, Infinite Void. Then he keeps going ham. and then he gets the come back to Earth moment of the realization of well, now I'm trapped, and now I just lost.
I don't know if he gets the feeling of he just lost, or
But
maybe it's just
he gets the feeling like he got betrayed. He's gotten betrayed by somebody he thought he destroyed.
Yeah.
He got the feeling of he got betrayed by somebody he thought he destroyed. And just when I say destroyed, killed, and got rid of.
Mm-hmm.
So now he feels like, how did you do this? Why did you do it? And they do explain that. They show the flashback to season 1. They show the flashback of the kid from the movie, the main character, talking about the powers he had, all that kind of stuff. He's one of the top sorcerers around the world in Jujutsu High. I think if they would have showed a snippet, I'm not saying you have to show the whole clip, but show a snippet of Ghetto and Gojo and Ghetto talking at that wall, then you get the idea of, wait, did he? And then Gojo's
There probably is something there though.
Yeah, there is. You're probably right. I think that's going to be coming up. I think that's going to make this make sense for a lot of people. Um, Ultimately, it is good. It's a good storytelling. It's very good storytelling. Very fun storytelling. I can't, like I said, can't complain. I just think that was the only thing that really kind of didn't hit. But like I said, it's not a full point; it's a half point because everything else hit. I hope, I hope that we get to the next couple episodes. We see the rest of the teams go. Oh wait, so Gojo's done. We need to get back to Shibuya, and we're just everybody's running Shibuya now and trying to find out what's going on. And I feel like if we get if Mechamaru had the ability to go back to Ichidori and tell him what's going on, I think Mechamaru tells more to Ichidori, like what's really going on here, what's happening, why.
Probably
I mean,
something about the prison that
he knows
Gojo's
something.
trapped.
He knows something about the prison realm, probably. And I don't think we're gonna have to be done with bloodshed. And I hate to say it because I think I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I don't know anything about this, so I haven't read the manga or anything. One of the teams is gonna have somebody get severely hurt. And if I had to guess, it's not gonna be any of the teachers, so it's not gonna be the 9-5 dude, it's not gonna be Meme, it's not gonna even be Panda or the trench coat dude. I think it's gonna be the team with the Zenin clan master, the girl that can't use cursed energy, she has weapons, and the girl that has the cursed energy through her little hammer thing. And I think the girl with the hammer thing is getting hurt.
I don't know if she'll get hurt, but I feel like she gonna get like a really tough battle.
Correct.
That's gonna really show off her skill
Correct.
because we really just ain't seen her go
No, we haven't. By the way, are there any fingers right now out in the wild? Do they have any
ham.
finger? Do they have any fingers on them? Because that's the other thing we haven't seen them any since these past 2 seasons. Anything about Sukuna's fingers?
I was about to say I haven't seen any mention of them.
Okay. Because that's the other thing I'm wondering if does Gojo have any of the fingers on him? Does Gojo have any of the fingers on him? And is that why they're going after him? And is that what Geto's looking for?
I would imagine so.
Okay. I'm looking forward to episode 34, see where this is going. We still have a long way to go before we get to the halfway point, but I think it's building up at a nice pace, and I think it's not going to slow down from here.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 23 of the Anime Dojo. We do thank you for listening. We hope you do enjoy. Chris, thank you for joining me. We'll be back next week for episode 34 of the anime, episode 24 of the Anime Dojo, episode 34 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. We also will have the autumn season officially starting on October 1st. We're gonna have anime almost every day in the first couple of weeks of autumn or October. So look out for that because that's gonna be some fun on our hands. Tell us in the comments what. Yeah, it's about to get very real. Tell us in the comments what you're going to be looking forward to in the autumn season. So we'll hit you up for that. But thank you for watching. Hope you did enjoy and hope you're here for next time. See ya.
Later, dudes.